Oh, man, so a crippling week ahead for Bitcoin. We have some of the most important macroeconomic catalysts coming up. Plus, I've just seen a worrying pattern form in the Bitcoin chart, which I have to share with you guys. Smash the like button. Don't forget to subscribe. Let's get straight into the charts here. There is so much going on. If you want to buy any of these moves, which I'm going to share with you, if you want to trade any cryptocurrencies, you can do so using BYBIT or BitGet. Links in the description. But as you can see, we're holding up here using the 300 moving average here on the weekly chart. But I'm going to share something really scary with you on the weekly chart. But before I do that, I have to show you what is going on this week. We have a crazy week ahead, kicking off with a bunch of different macroeconomic factors, which I have to share with you. The first being the IMF meeting. There is an IMF meeting going on Monday and Tuesday. Whilst I don't think that's going to have a huge effect on the market, we have to keep an eye on this. We know there is a lot going on in terms of the global financial crisis. And the first signals are going to come from third world countries starting to get in a bit of a pickle. Then we're going to start seeing some of the middle to upper economies start struggling. And we already know the UK, where we're at right now, is facing some troubles. We saw that the Bank of England had to intervene. Now, when does it become a point when some of these countries start knocking on the IMF's door for support? So this is going to be an important meeting for us to listen in on if there are any clues around that. Skipping then on to Wednesday, we get our FOMC minutes, okay? So look out on Wednesday for the FOMC minutes. Those are really important because we want to find out if there was anything extra that was said in the last FOMC meeting that we need to be aware of. Moving then on to Thursday, we've got the CPI reading, okay? Thursday is our CPI reading. Again, something we need to pay very close attention to is that CPI reading. But more importantly, what is it we're expecting? What are we expecting from the CPI reading? Well, the headline inflation rate came down from 8.5 to 8.3. The expectation so far, the consensus for this is 8.1. So we want to see this inflect down a little bit more. You can see it came down. We want to see it come down some more to 8.1. So the expectation isn't huge. So this will need to be met. If this is not met, we cannot nudge down from 8.3 to 8.1. Markets are going to be worried. We need to also look at the core inflation rate. Remember last month, they showed that that was going to go up and it went up more than expected. Markets were expecting this to go from 5.9 to 6.1. It came in horribly at 6.3. Now markets are pricing in that this could be going up to 6.5 at the next meeting. But again, what is going to happen? This is the critical bit for the markets. Jerome Powell is going to use this data. We already know the labor market data. We saw that the labor market is really tight. Jerome Powell is going to use this data to decide if he's going to rate hike aggressively. And if inflation goes out of control, markets might start to get worried. 80% of the market has now priced in a 75 basis points. Remember, this is moving around like a yo-yo, and that is where people are getting called out on their trades. Because when this price is in only 50 basis points, markets start running and people get excited. But the reality is 75 basis points is what it's going to be. We're not out of this mess. What is making people think that we're suddenly out of this inflation mess? We're not. And therefore, 75 basis points is on the cards and the market is starting to understand that. The question more importantly is if inflation comes out crazy on Thursday, if it comes in too high and out of control, above expectations, the question is, will the Fed put 100 basis points on the table? I mean, yes, these 75 basis points repeatedly are pretty unprecedented. We haven't seen this very often. But is he going to go ahead and do 100 basis points and really shock inflation to bring it down? Remember, Jerome Powell isn't following exactly what Volcker was following. If you remember Volcker, brought inflation down quickly, but then it stayed at 4, 5, 6%, I believe, for quite a long time. They were happy doing that. Jerome Powell says he wants to bring it quickly down to 2%. So he needs to be aggressive. He needs to be hard on interest rates in order to bring this down. So really important catalyst for us to watch on the macro front. And this could cripple markets. So be very careful if you've got any trade opens. Be careful if you're chasing green candles on the days leading up to Thursday, the CPI reading. And then to wrap things up on Friday, you're going to get your Michigan Consumer Sentiment Report. This is when Michigan do a survey of consumers to understand what is their expectations of inflation. Now, why is this important? Well, Jerome Powell wants to know, what do consumers think? Do they think inflation is going to get better or worse? Because guess what? What consumers think becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. If they think we're going to be in a high inflation environment, they delay purchases, that causes problems. So we need to understand what is it consumers think, and that's another important reading coming out on Friday. So really important week for crypto ahead. No doubt we'll be navigating that all together. But where do we sit here? Well, when I sit here on the charts, I do want to show you one thing, and that is when I show you on the weekly. And you can see that the 300 moving average is where we're holding up. Initially, I'm going to bring out the 200 moving average as well. So you can, we lost the 200 moving average. And historically, this 200 moving average was very, very important, okay? We always held above it and we managed to bounce. It always respected this. Going back into the history of Bitcoin, we never lost it until this period where we've fallen quite significantly below it and got rejected by it when we tried to get back above it. So now we're having to use the 300 moving average for support, which is quite unprecedented, but we do seem to be holding up at that level right now. But let me switch off that 300 moving average. And what I'm going to show you is what particularly scares me. What I'm showing you now is the white line is your 50 moving average, a 50-day normal moving average. And like we said, the blue line is your 200-day moving average. These two are the most commonly used moving averages amongst traders, particularly in crypto as well. This is the same in traditional finance and it's the same in crypto. Now, when these two lines cross over, just like any moving average strategy, when one line crosses the over, you want to look when the shorter term line, so the 50-day line crosses the 200-day line. And when that happens, that tends to give you a buy signal or a sell signal in that direction. So if we had that the 200 moving average was moving in one direction and the 50, the shorter term, crosses over it, this is a bullish move. This is called a golden cross, right? This would be a buy signal for you when these cross over. Okay. Now, what we're seeing, unfortunately, is the opposite. We're seeing that this line, the shorter term line, is trying to cross across the longer term line. This is the opposite of a golden cross. And in fact, it's called a death cross. Yes, a death cross. What a horrible name. But this is what I'm starting to get worried about. Now, this will continue to happen if we cannot get any short-term bullish momentum here on Bitcoin. And that's what we're struggling for right now, is if I pop away these moving averages, and by the way, if you like that TA strategy and you want to see more like this, it's all available in my free TA course. I didn't charge you guys for it. It's free. Skillshare link in the description. Sign up for free. Watch the course, take notes, and learn moving average strategies, learn about your EMA ribbon, learn about Bollinger Bands and everything, all in there for free. I'm not charging you thousands of pounds for it, right? Go check that out. Links in the description. Doesn't cost you a penny using the Skillshare link. So what we need here to stop this from happening is we need some bullish momentum from Bitcoin, right? So from a technical perspective, what I would love right now is what we're seeing here, is I'd want to see this W pattern play out. Right? I'd want to see us get to that neckline. Of course we would, to 24, 25,000, and then break it to the top side and really go into our EMA ribbon to get to about 30,000. Now, I don't want that because I think that's going to trigger the next bull run. I just want that to stop even more pain to the downside. And this is where things get interesting, because all I'm saying is I want a relief rally. We need to take some of this pressure off, because where we're sat right now does not look pretty at all. If I show you this on a different chart, this is where we're sitting, right? And when you see this expanding megaphone type pattern, and we're spending so much time at the bottom of it, I can't help but to think at some point we're going to lose that line. We cannot hold this horizontal line, which is at around 18,700 forever. Cannot hold that line forever. And so if we don't, we're going to start falling and start testing new lows. And that is where things are going to get horrible here. So, and that's when you're going to start getting that death cross playing out on the moving averages. So what I want to see is I want to see some bullish impetus. We need some movement. That's where it gets worrying, because I just shared with you a bunch of macroeconomics, which just doesn't seem to line up. What is going to be the positive news that can come out? The only positive news that can come out is a pivot on rates, but I personally cannot. I could be wrong. I cannot see Jerome Powell coming out and doing 50 basis points. He'll be seen as weak. Unless inflation is a huge shock reading, which I don't think it's going to be on Thursday, cannot come out and do 50 basis points. He's got to come out and at least do 75 basis. If inflation is bad, markets might even expect him to do 100 basis points, right? But I think he's going to go for 70. When we look at that, when we look at the TA, when we look at the macroeconomics, I've got to keep my bear hat on, and things don't look great. I'm going to be honest with you. When I see stuff in the charts, I'm going to share it with you. And when we wrap things up, what I do want to show you, this is where we're at. And we're trying to lose this trend line now. If we could keep this trend line, we had a little bit of chance here on the 4-hourly to just try to create a triangle in here and break to the upside, right? That's what we were trying to wriggle out. But remember what I said, if we cannot hold that yellow line, cannot hold the structure of that yellow line, we're going to come back down to the green line, 18,700 for retest. I'm just worried that we may start to lose that level. We held it up so many times. We were very brave. We were very strong. The bulls came in to step in. But at this point, if the bears push us down one more time, I just feel like the bull's going to be exhausted. We're going to have a bunch of macroeconomic issue. We could have this financial crisis continuing. Still got inflation shocks around the Russia-Ukraine war as well. Things do not look great. And then we could be testing 17,600 at the June lows. And that could be a testing time for market. So that is what I'm preparing for this week, guys. Really critical week. No doubt I'll be with you every single day with the updates, so you will not be alone. Smash up the likes. Don't forget to subscribe if you want to trade any of these moves. If you want to buy any crypto for long-term investments, check out BYBIT or BitGet. Links in the description. Those are the two platforms I use on a day-to-day basis. So if you do want to check them out, check the links in the description. Don't forget to go watch my Matic, Polkadot, and Chainlink price target update video, which I posted yesterday. And I'll see you in the next one.